Let's talk about aluminum tariffs, a topic that might sound dry at first, but stick with me, because it's a perfect example of how well-intentioned policies can spiral into unexpected chaos. Imagine you're driving peacefully, and suddenly a wasp starts buzzing around inside your car. That's what these tariffs became: a distraction, a danger, and a problem that just wouldn't go away. These tariffs were introduced with a flourish, sold to the public as a patriotic move to protect American jobs and industries. Politicians promised that by making imported aluminum more expensive, American factories would roar back to life, hiring more workers and producing more goods. It was a simple, appealing story, one that fit neatly into campaign speeches and news soundbites. The logic seemed straightforward: raise the price of foreign aluminum, and American producers would have the upper hand. Factories would thrive, communities would prosper, and the nation would become more self-reliant. It was painted as a bold move, a strategic play in the global economic chess game. But reality, as always, is far messier. The US simply doesn't produce enough of certain specialized aluminum types needed for everything from cars to airplanes. The global supply chain is a tangled web, not a straight line. When tariffs hit, costs didn't just rise for foreign competitors, they rose for American manufacturers too, who rely on imported aluminum to keep their own factories running. Instead of a masterstroke, the tariffs quickly became a self-inflicted wound. American workers and businesses found themselves squeezed by higher prices and supply shortages. Some factories slowed production, others closed their doors, and the very people the policy was meant to help ended up paying the price. The real story? A policy designed as a protective shield for American industry turned into a blunt hammer, smashing through the delicate machinery of the economy. The consequences: lost jobs, higher costs, and frustrated workers were as predictable as they were ignored by those who championed the tariffs. Like a wasp in your car, the policy was more trouble than anyone bargained for. Here's the thing: none of this was a surprise. Experts warned that tariffs would backfire, but the warnings were ignored. The US aluminum market isn't a simple switch, it's a complex grid, and we rely on Canada for high-purity aluminum. Imposing tariffs was like taxing the blueberries your bakery needs, then acting shocked when your muffins cost more. The result? Scarcity and price hikes, exactly as predicted. This isn't advanced economics, it's basic supply and demand. The chaos was the policy, not a side effect. The story of aluminum in North America is really a story of partnership, a tale of two neighbors, the United States and Canada, working side by side. For decades, these two countries have built a relationship based on trust, efficiency, and mutual benefit. Their aluminum industries are not competitors fighting for dominance, but rather partners, each playing a crucial role in a shared supply chain that stretches across borders and benefits millions of people on both sides. In this partnership, Canadian smelters take on the challenging task of producing raw aluminum, using abundant hydroelectric power and advanced technology. Once the aluminum is ready, it crosses the border into the United States, where American factories transform it into a wide range of finished goods, everything from cars and airplanes to soda cans and smartphones. This seamless flow of materials and expertise has made North America a powerhouse in the global aluminum market. But when tariffs were introduced, this carefully balanced partnership was thrown into chaos. Suddenly, every step in the process became more expensive. The cost of raw aluminum went up, and so did the price of finished products. Consumers felt the impact at the checkout line, paying more for everyday items like cars, appliances, and even their favorite beverages. The ripple effects spread throughout the economy, hurting businesses and workers alike. Imagine trying to fix a car by removing its engine just because it was made in another country. Instead of solving a problem, you end up breaking something that was working perfectly. That's what happened to the aluminum supply chain. An essential engine of North American industry was disrupted, and the whole system suffered. The North American aluminum market isn't just a collection of separate businesses, it's a single integrated system. Raw materials, parts, and finished products move back and forth across the border every day, supporting jobs and communities in both countries. Forcing this system to split apart is not just inefficient, it's destructive. Factories slow down, workers lose hours, and entire communities feel the strain. Years of cooperation and investment are put at risk. Decades of building a reliable cross-border supply chain can't be undone and rebuilt overnight. The connections are too deep, the relationships too important, and the stakes too high for both countries. For years, the system worked smoothly, powering industries and livelihoods across North America. But then politics intervened, and the partnership that had taken generations to build was suddenly at risk. The story of aluminum is a reminder. When neighbors work together, everyone prospers. But when barriers go up, everyone pays the price. When the US slapped tariffs on Canadian aluminum, Canada didn't just accept it, they found new buyers. Aluminum meant for American factories was rerouted to Europe and Asia. The US lost access to a reliable supply, while global competitors got a better deal. We didn't reduce global supply, we just priced ourselves out. Canada's move wasn't spite, it was smart business. The episode showed a deep misunderstanding of global markets. You can't bully a commodity market. You can only make yourself less competitive. On the factory floor, the tariffs hit hard. Prices spiked, budgets were blown, and contracts became unworkable. Shortages followed as Canadian aluminum went elsewhere, leaving American manufacturers scrambling. Factories couldn't just switch suppliers or alloys. Production stalled, workers were idled, and orders delayed. Some turned to distant countries for aluminum, increasing costs and risks. The policy meant to help American industry did the opposite, hurting the very businesses it claimed to protect. Factory managers faced layoffs, angry customers, and shrinking margins. The solution was worse than the problem. There's a bedtime story that gets told over and over again, a comforting tale that tariffs are a shield, protecting American jobs from foreign competition. But this story, as reassuring as it sounds, simply isn't true. The biggest myth? That tariffs protect American jobs. In reality, the truth is far more complicated, and the consequences are felt by workers and families across the country. For every job in smelting, there are dozens, sometimes hundreds of jobs that depend on using aluminum as a raw material. Think about the auto industry, where aluminum is essential for building lighter, safer cars. Or aerospace, where precision parts rely on affordable materials. Construction, packaging, electronics. These industries all depend on aluminum, and they employ millions of Americans. When tariffs are imposed, it's not just the smelters who are affected. It's the entire supply chain, from factory floor to finished product. Tariffs might save a handful of smelting jobs, but they raise costs for everyone else. Suddenly, manufacturers have to pay more for the same materials, squeezing their already thin margins. Small businesses, in particular, feel the pinch, as they can't always absorb the extra costs. Companies are forced to make tough choices. They can try to absorb the higher costs, but that often means cutting back on investment in new equipment or technology. Some pass the costs on to consumers, making their products more expensive and less competitive in the global market. Others are left with no choice but to freeze hiring or lay off workers to stay afloat. The result? Lost sales, hiring freezes, and layoffs, not just in smelting, but across industries that rely on affordable aluminum. Entire communities can feel the impact as factories slow down or shut their doors. In the end, tariffs didn't protect American jobs. They simply redistributed the pain, hurting far more workers than they helped. The ripple effects spread through towns and cities, leaving uncertainty and hardship in their wake. The idea that you can tax your way to prosperity is a political fantasy, not economic reality. Real prosperity comes from innovation, efficiency, and open markets, not from building walls around our industries. It's time to wake up from this bedtime story and face the facts. Tariffs didn't just hurt the economy, they eroded trust. Businesses on both sides of the border relied on stable rules. Tariffs shattered that confidence. Unpredictable policy scares off investment and pushes allies to look elsewhere. The U.S. weakened its own foundations and gave rivals ammunition to question American reliability. The real cost wasn't just higher prices, it was a trust deficit that will take years to repair. The lesson? Strength comes from cooperation, not isolation. The U.S.-Canada Aluminum Partnership was a model of shared prosperity. Tariffs were economic self-sabotage based on outdated ideas. Real resilience means embracing global supply chains and working with allies, not against them. Prosperity is built on partnerships, smart investments, and stable rules, not trade wars. The choice is clear: build bridges, not walls.